Henhouse Big Chicken trade deadline. Who is the big chicken of the trade deadline?
Fox, again, doesn't have to look over his shoulder.
He's the big chicken because there's a fox in the henhouse.
Is he the trade block?
But this is one of those rare trade deadlines where it seems like most trades are like a win-win.
I don't think either team got really a lot better. They're not putting him in spots again to get him going, like to get him open.
Welcome back to another episode of Please Dunk Responsibly. Oh my God, the trade deadline has passed edition.
Holy moly.
This is a basketball and beer podcast where we compare players to beers to players, discuss the NBA current events as well as the past. So who doesn't love some old school NBA basketball? I'm one of your co-hosts, Ben Rice from the Barley Me podcast. With me, as always, my co-host,
Phil Webster. Oh my God, this trade dedeadline.
It hit
home. It hit home for us.
Finally.
Yes. What we asked for, I don't know, 2 years ago is happening now. And it's a magical time. Like, as much as everybody wants to say, like, I mean, obviously we lost a guy we were all rooting for in Halliburton in Sacramento.
Yeah.
But
Rip.
You have to get rid of some trash, and sometimes when you get rid of the trash, you got to throw out something good with it.
Yeah, unfortunately, it gets mixed in there.
Yeah,
But
it just does.
It's the cost of business. That's really what it is. It's the cost of business. You can't get a two-time All-Star with a bag of trash.
No.
Not
and
usually.
again,
Occasionally you can do it.
and yeah, I mean, and a lot of people think, like, I mean, of course, across NBA heads and stuff that I've been listening to, was that this just kind of trade isn't done. Like, so, and the Kings are labeled trash, which they are, and we make terrible moves all the time,
Which we do.
is also true.
Accurate.
But I think in this case,
They did it.
made sense.
Yeah.
But and again, like, I'm not in the room. I don't know Monty. I don't know how he's connected with other groups. I don't know if he has enough friends where he can just throw something out there and be like, "Hey, man, I'll lowball you now, but I'll hit you up later."
I'm going to work on the second deal, see if that can get going. If
Yes.
that goes through, I'm going to do this deal. Is that cool
But
with
it
you?
seems like once we got what
it
we
seemed
got
like there
from
was a plan.
Marvin, it seemed like
There might have been a
they
plan.
knew that was happening, so they didn't mind giving up what they got because they knew they were going to get DiVincenzo in the back end. So
who's shown to be a clutch performer in the playoffs, reliable defender.
Yes, very, like, I think they
Scrappy.
kind of always wanted him. He's a king type player.
It's a bulky, less efficient Halliburton kind of. He
kind of reminds me of just getting another Bogdanovich in a way.
Yeah,
but
he defends.
He defends, and you're hoping that he just gets utilized properly.
Yeah, right.
Like, you hope that he gets used off the bench or in close situations that he's there. Like,
fourth option,
I would
starter.
take him as a better option than Buddy, right? Yeah. He's like in between. Like, he's going to get some shots, but he's not also going to just take ill-advised threes.
Yeah, right.
So
he plays within the offense.
Yeah.
He can do a lot of different things. He can do damage. He's a defender.
He's a defender. He goes to the hole. He makes heady
He's
plays.
A champion.
And that's, again, yes, he's a champion. And, I mean, this, again, sets up next year. It sets up, like, I think he's a free agent. I don't think Sabonis is. I think he has 2 years out. So I think, like, that was also going to be the price for Sabonis, is that you had to give probably somebody under contract for a while, because he wasn't like a restricted where it was like, you're going to sign him long term, even though I'm sure they could. Yeah. They could figure out a way to just give him an extension. He can't leave
immediately, so you got to give some value.
Right. But it's like, they don't do what they do if they don't do, like, I would assume, unless they do their due diligence. Now, you can say, again, the Kings are the Kings, but like, every GM's not the same. And then they did have a good run. Now, it might have been, coming close to 15, 20 years ago, but they had a really good run there with Petrie, and he was making the right moves. And I remember a lot of people scoffing at getting Doug Christie and scoffing at getting Bibby for
Jason Williams.
Like that. It's like they were trading apples for apples in a way, and it was like not. And then, but
sometimes you're getting a Granny Smith for a Red Delicious.
You're right.
That's a good trade.
Yeah,
that's a good trade.
Difference. There is a difference, right? You might get 20 points.
You're gonna get a Fiji apple, bro,
or 15 and 5 per game, but they're gonna be somewhat more efficient. Maybe not as flashy, but then less turnovers, or something like that. It's
just always trade-offs.
Yes, there's trade-offs on everything. And again, like, our hearts are there. Yeah. Like, our hearts are there. We wish Halliburton the best. I think he's going to be a great complementary piece somewhere. Is it going to be in Indiana? Who knows? Like, again,
I think Indiana's going to eat him up, man. Not like in a bad way. I think
he's not going to have any help.
I mean, he's an Indiana player. Like what Indiana Pacers fans like in players, he has.
Yes.
He's a combination of Mark Jackson, Reggie Miller, and Jalen Rose.
Are they a poor Sacramento, or is Sacramento a poor Indiana?
Oh, Sacramento's a poor Indiana.
Yeah,
Indiana's a consistent competitor and has been for like 30 years.
But also the Eastern Conference has been pretty bad, besides Chicago.
But they're so. But they always have something going.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't always pan out, but they always got something going.
They do.
You know?
They are about, like, I mean, they do make moves.
They had the Paul George and big tall guy era. They had the two tall guy Domantas Sabonis and
they did. They
Miles
had the Reggie
Turner?
Miller era. They did clearly have good draft development.
Yeah, and with not good draft picks.
Sabonis said it, like, in his news conference after the game, is that, you know, he got traded on draft night. He got traded like a year later, and he's just looking for somewhere he wants to be. And if you can't fall in love with that,
it's been 2 years where Sabonis is not sure where he stood with the Pacers.
That's amazing. Like, and it's like, and you would think, again, a team that was
the 2 years where he was an All-Star, he's not sure.
Yeah, a French playoff team doesn't know what they were going to do. And again, like, you had Oladipo on that team who was hurt twice, 2 years in a row.
But he was an Indiana University guy. They wanted him to be the guy.
That's what I'm saying.
And I think Halliburton's going to fill that role.
I love it. And again, not to say anything from Halliburton, but you can find a Halliburton.
You can't. It's
really hard to find a functional big man that's not hurt all the time.
This is 2022. You don't need a big man, but Sabonis is an excellent.
He's an excellent big man who plays all the time.
He's just like his dad.
You want to complain about his shooting, but that dude he's almost never hurt. He's a good size. Like, and he's not trying to be Porzingis.
You can't
or something like that. You can't
learn that vision. No. Like that first game, those passes.
The passes to me too.
People he never played with.
Exactly. Can you imagine?
Like, he's got that.
Can you imagine
his dad was a renowned passer. Like he's got the eye.
He has the feel. Like you said, he has the eyes, the feel, where it's like, I know what's about to happen before it happens.
I mean,
and the Kings are historically great with good passing big men. Yeah. Like get good passing big men.
Even in 2022, good passing big man means a lot.
It totally does.
And we'll talk more about that in a moment with other things. But this is one of those rare trade deadlines where it seems like most trades are like a win-win or have the strong potential of being a win-win.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of potential in a lot of these. This is why I had a problem with Halliburton. As much as you want to say, like, I love the guy, it's like anybody right now could say anything he's going to be without knowing. Yeah, we know he loves basketball. We know he wanted to be in SAC, but he literally been here a year and a half. Yeah. He could feel like De'Aaron Fox, like supposedly frustrated. Yeah, in 2.5 years.
In Sacramento, with the incompetence that's existed for 15 years.
Yes.
You're allowed to feel frustrated pretty quickly. Yes. Like, you can never blame the player.
Of course. And again, you can't have two guards that you have to
four guards.
Like, make happy.
Four guards.
And then, or four guards, yes, that you have to try to make happy. Like, and then throw in, and then you draft the guard that next year. It's just not gonna work, guys. Like, and did they take the one that people liked the most and give him away? Sure, probably. But he was the newest toy on the shelf. Get rid of him before you get too nostalgic. He's an easier move. He's more attractive. And again, you're going to get somebody who's not, it doesn't look like a flashy toy right away, but he's going to function every day. He's going to be a good double-double guy. He got a double-double in his first game. He's a double-double guy, and he's just going to put in work, and that's what's going to complement Fox. That's what's going to get Harrison Barnes shots. Yeah. It's like all of this stuff is going to work. Now, sure, are they going to be maybe a 10th seed and get into play-in?
Maybe. This year, maybe. Next year,
again,
who knows?
But who knows? Yes, and there's still moves to be made. There's money out there now because we got rid of Hield's contract. You don't have to worry about paying Bagley. Now all you have to do is just find out whether
DiVincenzo.
Yes, is
Healthy,
healthy,
ready to come back to what he was.
Can you give him a viable contract, and then you just work from there?
Yeah,
right? That's all you do.
Now, I will say on my social media, people thought I was being very negative about the Sabonis for Halliburton trade, and it was strictly because
you clearly were.
No,
you're getting your feelings.
I felt that as far as who won the trade, the Pacers did.
Of course,
they got a bombing 3-point shooter in Buddy Hield, who doesn't play great defense, obviously, and people in Sacramento hated him. But he didn't want to be here. But nobody wants to be in Sacramento. You can't. If that's the reason you don't like him,
but he didn't. He didn't want to be with the Pelicans either. And then he came here and he's like, I don't want to be here either. And I'm like,
both of those franchises are failures.
You're right.
He's one of the greatest 3-point shooters in the league. And he's one of the worst defenders in the league.
Yes.
Not up for debate. Neither of these things are up for debate.
No.
Neither of them. But
one doesn't translate to the other, just like we talked about Westbrook and all that stuff. It's like you can have great stats, even great percentages,
and still be bad.
You can still be on a terrible team that doesn't win because now more than ever, as we thought, like the Warriors would elevate all these teams. Nobody's elevating those guys.
It's just like baseball. You can't. In football, like the win-loss record does not affect who you are as a player. Like our buddy Chris Thomas, very outspoken on this particular topic.
Oh yes, he was.
But he's like, the Kings went 3-9 while Fox was out and Halliburton was a part of that. Let's read these stats. 19.2 points a game on 46, 39, 87. That's nearly the 50, 40, 90 shooting.
Nearly almost average
10 assists.
Double. Yes.
4.1 rebounds, 1.9 steals, and only 3.3 turnovers. So 3-to-1 turnover assist to turnover ratio.
Double.
And you're like, well, this guy isn't worth it because we lost the games. The team is bad.
The team is bad. They don't have good.
Those are like the stats that people put up they're getting more common now, but before there were 5 guys who'd done that for a season.
Oh yeah.
And you're telling me he's garbage because of that?
He's not.
Like, it doesn't make sense.
It is like, and again, you can't take individuals, right? It's like it's who they're playing and who they have. Like again, like the pieces just don't work. The pieces don't work. You can have 5 good things, and then it's just like, but it's like if these don't marry together, what's the hell is the point?
Well, you've got 1.5 years showing that Halliburton is one of the most efficient players, offensively and defensively, in the NBA. So
it depends on what you value, though. It's like, do you value youth and control? Or do you value like veteran leadership? It's like, what does your team need? And again, like the Kings don't need that. They're going to have.
I want to be clear. I'm not mad that he's gone.
Yeah, I think everybody got what you wanted, like you said.
I'm sad that he's gone.
Yes, everybody's sad.
As a Thunder fan, I know that Domantas Sabonis has gotten a bad shake a lot of where he's been. And I know that he's a good player. I've watched him play. I'm fully aware that in Oklahoma City, they didn't utilize him. They had him stuck in the corner shooting threes, which is not his game. And I know that he got traded and he didn't want to go there. And I know that there's been a fight between him and Turner about who's the better center / power forward for that team. And it's been a whole thing for him. And I know what that player can be. But I was like, is it worth giving all this up for him when the players that are on the roster aren't good enough to support what he does? Because he is, as good as he is.
But are they going to get a better chance at getting him?
He's the power forward version of a James Harden. Like the ball needs to go to him.
How many guys are Sabonis in the league?
Oh my God, his vision is not
10,
in question.
Maybe
it's not in question.
Yeah. So it's like, do you give up a 10 guy to have, 30 Halliburtons?
But you need but Halliburton can be played in any lineup on any team, and Sabonis can't. That's the thing. If you're a team that's like, where are we going with this? That's not. I'd rather have the guy you can put anywhere as opposed to the guy that's like, you have to do these things for me to be successful.
Yes,
even though those things he does are so incredible,
are coming half a dozen now. The thing that separates Halliburton is that we can see his genuineness in what he does. We can see that he's a great kid. We can see that he loves what he does and that he's just happy to be anywhere as long as he plays and people care about him.
But then they dump Bagley and they get DiVincenzo, and I'm like, all right, that's a plan. This stuff all adds up.
We have to give as much credit to Monty for that as much as you want to shit on him for the other thing. These two moves, I'm like,
on day one, I'm like, all right. I don't hate it.
It wasn't the greatest.
No, I'm like, it's a good move. It's a good move, but they did lose it.
They did lose the trade.
Oh, here we go.
They could have got one more thing for Halliburton, considering they had so much control over him.
But day 2, I'm like, oh, there's a plan. The Kings have a plan for the first time in over a decade.
But
I mean,
see, yes,
okay,
it was like, yo, you didn't see. I couldn't come out with this one first because this takes 4 teams to get this one done,
right?
Or else you would see that I have a true plan, and I'm keeping the most valuable of
all the people,
the Kings. Like as much as people don't like Harrison Barnes, and I'm not. I can take him or leave him. He's a piece,
right? He has a function.
Me, it's just he is. I don't know, like Tim Hardaway Jr. It's like one of those guys where it's like, yeah, could that guy go off? He can also just disappear, and you're just like, what?
He cannot create his own. He can't create his own offense.
No, he has to be completely wide open. He has to have double teams, which you're hoping Sabonis creates, you're hoping Fox creates, and now Fox again doesn't have to look over his shoulder, which you had to think that was part of the thing with Halliburton. There's nothing wrong with Halliburton. You love the kid, but there's got to be something in Fox's back of the head that he's like, why are they keep drafting all these guards? They're not drafting
and that was the question anybody would have.
Yeah.
Any casual observer had the same question. What is going on?
As much as everybody wants to complain about Fox not improving, it's like
what's
the
a team
mental
around
aspect
him?
You're not thinking about. Yeah, they didn't get anybody to help him. They just got a whole bunch of shooters like he was Dwight Howard. Like, no, he needs a big guy.
And like I said, I love Sabonis being a passer to Fox, letting him like work on his cutting game and getting into the rim.
Getting his
absolutely
do pick and roll.
And immediately
and this hopefully sets him up to get a coach. We haven't even gotten into that.
Yeah.
There's like a ton of options here.
Yeah. So that's the Kings.
That's the Kings. Oh yeah, we haven't even gotten into what
we are drinking
and where we are.
Yes, right. We're at Hop Gardens.
Yes.
Wonderful tap house.
Wonderful place in Curtis Park.
Yep, on Franklin Boulevard.
Sacramento. It's a nice little neighborhood. Come check them out. They're pulling incredible beers all the time. Yeah. Alvarado Street.
The funny thing, the owner, Matt, I actually met through the Thursday Drunks, an old school drinking crew that would go out to restaurants on Thursdays. It's like, oh, I know that. Oh, he's opening a business. Yeah. That's dope. So,
as you can tell, we're outside.
That predates Barley Me by quite a lot. I don't think I've been to a Thursday Drunks meeting in 6 years.
That's okay.
They haven't met Becky. It's very sad. Like, no, oh my God, it's so long ago. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Matt, congratulations on your success. Happy to support you any way I can.
It's amazing. Yeah, one of the up and coming tap rooms. They've been great for a couple of years now.
Right next door to Zen Threads, who does my logos.
Yes.
And my shirts.
Yes.
So
great place. Like next to Pangea, another old school tap room. You can't do anything wrong. There's a lot of beer around here.
Killer pizza here also.
And having and they complement each other.
Yeah.
Because
they don't overlap on their
they don't
food.
overlap in their beer most of the time, and they don't overlap in their food. It's a
different
firewood pizza here, and they do a lot of Italian
big outdoor
dishes
space here, more of an indoor space at Pangea.
Yeah, much more indoor space. Bottle shop, all that stuff at Pangea, but beer gardens. Check them out. Give them a shot. If you're happen to be at Pangea and it's really rocking, you're not sloughing off by coming to Beer Gardens, which is literally a block down the street.
Yeah, easy walk.
Check them out.
No big deal.
But yeah, so what are we drinking?
So we are drinking from Henhouse Brewing. We're drinking the Big Chicken.
Oh yeah,
their yearly double IPA. Is it triple IPA?
Yeah, friend of the podcast. Yes.
Henhouse, love them.
Love them. Triple IPA. Yeah, it's triple IPA season. Where it is SF Beer Week. San Francisco for all of those who aren't from here.
It's a 0-day triple IPA.
Yes, it's so a lot of people come out with like their big heavy hitter.
Right now, it's nuts.
It's so good. It's perfect time because it's starting to warm up. Perfect spring beers. You can only have like 2 or 3, but I mean it's a really good beer, really smooth. They've been making it for years now. I think they're coming up on 10 years if they're not already. Henhouse is their staple, man. They're coming and they're the real deal. Get them where you can find them.
And it leads to this question, because this is the Basketball and Beer podcast where we can play players to beers. So, Henhouse Big Chicken trade deadline. Who is the big chicken of the trade deadline?
Oh, the big.
What are the options, Phil? What do we have?
Man, it's like
our nominees. Harden, who asked out of the Nets. Ben Simmons, who asked out of the 76ers. What else we got?
Or Marvin Bagley.
Marvin Bagley.
Is he the big chicken that nobody knows how to use yet, but Detroit's just going to figure it out? And
he's a
just
tiny
be an
chick
all-star.
just running around not sure what he's doing. But let me tell you this. What about Domantas Sabonis? He is... Sorry, I had a plan for this. He's the big chicken because there's a fox in the henhouse, baby. There we go. That's the Aaron Fox and Henhouse Brewing. That's right.
Gosh,
I thought it through.
He just did that right now.
So I'm throwing that in because I'm like, he's the big guy on campus, but the Kings are still kind of an iffy team. So is that a chicken as opposed to?
That's a good point.
So
I think he
I'm
might
coming
be.
in from an angle on both sides.
I didn't want to be super biased, but
not only the puns.
I mean, he is. He's a big guy. He brings versatility. We talked about it. He's a good passer. I think I like what he brings. To me, yeah, he's our big chicken. I like it.
You want it? I'm going to go with James Harden.
Of course you are.
He brought back the fat suit. Good for him. That was bold move. I watched some clips.
That's
he was skinny.
Move.
He was skinny, and then he was chubby again. Like 3 days
trade
later.
Block to get on the trade block. That's how we figured it out.
The trade block of cheese.
Is he the trade block, or is he want to be on it? Like, I think that's how it works.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's a few options for Big Chicken trade deadline edition, and I think you're not wrong for any choice that you make. But let us know and hit us up.
Yes,
slide into our GMs. And let us know who you think the Big Chicken of the NBA trade deadline is. And you can do that at Please Dunk Responsibly on Instagram and Please Dunk Pod on Twitter. It's PLZ Dunk Pod, or just hit us up. I'm at Barley and Me Pod across social media, and Phil is at Culinary Lando on Instagram and Peter Parkour on Twitter. So just slide into those GMs. Let us know what you think. We're happy to hear it. If you got some beers you want us to compare to players you want us to compare to beers, don't do both. Call in. We will happily answer those questions for you. Get that tackled.
Of course you win, James Harden.
That's just my personal
It was
opinion.
easy. I mean, again, those are the two most viable candidates. I think him and Sabonis is like...
Simmons is a strong one.
Simmons,
he's
just such
season.
an unknown.
He's like, how dare you call me a chicken? I'll show you by not playing the game for half a year.
Again,
Coward.
He is like unfortunately, failing franchise just in himself as far as how he plays. It's like he does just enough for you, and then he falls apart when you need him the most, and then you're just wondering, should we blow this up? Should we start over again? Is he good? Is he not? And it's like, I think they're perfectly interchangeable parts because they're completely opposite types of players, and the fact that they're still both useless in the same way, where it's like, we talked about it. I mean, we didn't even do this. Well, we're going to do this now on this podcast. He is a milkshake IPA.
Yeah.
He fills stats. You can pick any stats that he's really good at. They talk about his defensive rating. You talk about how good he is at getting at the hole and his efficiency. But he can't shoot free throws.
It's hard to watch.
He can't shoot outside.
It's undigestible.
And he doesn't even... It's almost worse than Shaq. Because with Shaq, you're like, you're a gigantic human being. Everybody can understand why you can't do what you can do.
There's no question why it's happening.
You are around the same size as most players, and you don't know most fundamental things that most players wouldn't even be able to get on the court if they didn't know how to do those things. And yet you do, just because you're enormously fast for how big you are. And again, you play good defense. You know why? Because you can't shoot. So that's what you do. It's like you really can focus on that because you don't get tired on the offensive end because you don't do anything. So, and James Harden's the opposite, right? He doesn't play defense.
But he
gets really big when he doesn't want to do anything, like Mario. And then, you don't know what he's going to give you when it comes play time. So it's like, I don't think either team got really a lot better.
Harden throws on that Tanuki suit.
I just think you almost do Embiid injustice by doing this because now it gives you some false hope. that he's going to have
and
some
an
help
excuse.
when and again, like, you give him fault, whereas, like, he already knew in his head, like, for 40 games now, he's been all by himself. He's got to do whatever he can by 40, 50 games. It's just me. Now, and he's gotten them to this point, and now you're telling him, "Oh, we were sending you help," quote unquote.
Yeah.
And I don't think so. Like, I don't.
You don't think so?
I don't think
this is one of those hypothetical things. Like, do they offset each other enough, or do they complement each other enough? And that's.
I think it's Daryl Morey's just love for Harden.
What?
I know. It's like, to think that that's a possibility. It's all like smoke and mirrors by both of these teams.
Yeah, it's
all
like,
these people.
The best case scenario for both these teams is so good.
Yes,
but the worst case scenario is so bad for both of them. And there's like,
I mean, we didn't learn anything from the Nets.
Yeah, there was nothing. What did they play? 14 games together.
16.
The big three, 16 games in
13
2 years.
and 3 together.
2 seasons, 16
2
games.
seasons. Couldn't get all three on the court for various reasons at the same time. I get Harden's frustration. He's just like, this is not what I come here for. Is to do the same thing I did in Houston.
And I know the one dude's never going to change what's happening.
No.
So I'm going to be stuck playing the playoffs where I don't, like, it's a yin-yang.
Well, and again, this is kind of what
yo-yo?
you knew, and this is, again,
in the playoffs where, like,
those are
every
the
moment counts in the playoffs. You're telling me this guy's not going to be here half the time, guaranteed?
This is the Antonio, like, to me, Kyrie Irving is the Antonio Brown of the NBA. He can have legitimate beasts, but because of how he acts petulantly as a child, like in most cases, and doesn't kind of work within the framework of the system, which again, I get that he can do it because
we need to break systems. This is how you do it.
Yeah,
but
it's
also,
like he has power, but it's like, you can understand why, again, people are going to choose like not to be on your side of it, because it's like, even if you're right, you could still be wrong. It's like he's not doing it for the betterment of everyone else. He's thinking about himself only. And again, people already feel that way about NBA players or sports stars anyway, right? You make an incredible amount of money. There's very few sacrifices people feel like you have to make, even though there's way more than that. But when you act in that way, when you know so many others who haven't, it makes it very, very difficult to root for. And again, if everybody wants to look at the past, like, what has he done without LeBron? If you really want to make, like,
that's the question.
Not much. Like, maybe in Boston, and then again he fell apart, got hurt.
No, he didn't.
And then Boston really didn't want him back.
Yeah, they were happy.
They were like, get out. Like, we'd rather, again, it be you here none of the time than you here half the time. Like, because you don't want to run, and that's what I'm afraid of is going to happen with Harden and the Sixers. Unfortunately, it's just Embiid, who's not always healthy, is going to be if he's your most consistent player, it's not good, right? I think we talked about this last podcast too. It's like, can you win with your best player being a big?
Yeah.
In this league right now, not really, because a lot of it
Kings. Sorry,
it's European.
I had to do it.
I know you did have to do it. I get it. I get what you're saying. But but can he be your second best player?
Yes. Absolutely. Why would you be the best team with two guards? That doesn't make I mean, you're not the Warriors.
You could have, again, in the 90s, late 90s, 2000s.
Clean up.
When there's Shaq and Kobe, you can have a big guy and another guy in that work. Nowadays, that has to be your second or third best player. Like, he can't be your first. And that's where the Denver Nuggets are going to go wrong. Like, you love them, but it's like, Jokic can't be the number one.
He can be. I feel okay. So
I love him.
Let's walk it back. I feel like a big can be number one, but your number two better be pretty close to number one. They better be like, ooh, it's an argument.
So you need to have like 1A, 1B.
And the problem with the Nuggets is that their number two fluctuates because of health, because of inconsistency.
Yeah.
They're like,
well,
who's our
Murray
number?
had a huge, terrible injury.
Right.
Of course.
Like I said, like from health.
Yes.
Like,
I mean, he had a Paul George-ish type injury. Not exactly the same, but it's
catastrophic.
catastrophic. But, again, I mean,
But
we
was
can
he-
say the
but was
same
he
thing
so
about the
dependable
Clippers.
game to game?
Can you have two small forwards be really the two best players on
As
your
discussed
team?
with the Celtics last episode, can you have
Cannot
two
work.
small forwards?
It doesn't work.
If they can slide up and down, you're good. And I think Kawhi would make a pretty decent four. And that's the argument I would make for
But
the
that's
Clippers.
not how they won. How did they win?
That's not. No, it's
How
not.
did they win in Toronto? The
Yeah.
Warriors died.
Yeah.
But besides that, if the Warriors don't die, how did Toronto win? Because he had a good guy. They had Van Fleet play great. Obviously, a good point guard play out of his mind. They also had Siakam play out of his mind.
on the second team.
Yes. Coming off the bench, playing in the fourth quarter.
Playing, taking up Kawhi space when he sat.
Yes.
Like,
yes. And when he was sad.
Yeah.
But also when he's sad.
yeah.
But yes. Also, but
The best
yeah,
and worst
like,
thing to
I
happen
mean,
to Pascal Siakam is
but it's
Kawhi
like
Leonard.
they usually weren't on the floor at the same time. And
Right.
again, they have to have things go their way. But again, you have to have balance on the floor, and there's no balance with George and
No.
they're on
have-
like year 3, and they're just getting worse and worse.
And there's
they keep
injuries.
trading like these inclement pieces, and none of it and it's like that's not going to work either. Like, you can't just keep trading like 5 or 6 bench players and just think like, oh yeah, this is then now it'll work. Now we'll just figure out one of these guys to kind of stick in.
Yeah.
It's like, no, like this is not
tenable.
working.
It's not going to work.
Yes.
Flip one of them from Jaylen Brown. There we go. Solve the problem. Like, what are you talking about? I like
Let's
to tie
have
it in.
3 small forwards.
Yeah. So, all right. Quick question.
Yes.
We throw a lot of things out haphazardly as we talk. We're just spitballing here. We're not.
We do.
We're not professionals, but
We're
occasionally
not a
we get
professional.
things right.
We do.
But before I get to that part,
oh, I love that
we've
part.
talked about maybe the Kings getting Ben Simmons. That was a thing we talked
Oh
about.
yeah, it was
But
out there.
I feel like I may have said an easy switch over for that would be Sabonis. I feel like that got said at some point in time, but I cannot guarantee
It did. I think Sabonis. Both of those guys were definitely
But I
floating
think-
around early.
But I think
early on.
did we say it on the podcast is the question. Did I
Yes.
say, if you can't get Simmons, Sabonis is a
You
pretty good
did
fill-in.
say that you wanted Sabonis.
So-
you thought Sabonis. You didn't think you wanted to give up Halliburton for him.
Right, I would never.
Or Fox.
Right.
For the sake of
But I feel
argument.
like, technically speaking, we called it.
We
Even
did.
if it wasn't on the podcast, it came up in our conversations that we have over the
Maybe
phone,
that was
over
the gold
text,
that we were talking about.
in a garage. There's tons of ways that we could have had this conversation, but I feel like we did it. Other things we've gotten right. Phil.
Oh, yes. Nate McMillan.
Nate McMillan.
Good Lord.
Atlanta Hawks. Eastern
Atlanta Hawks.
Conference Finals last year,
Conference finals on a 1-year deal. I think he was.
It is
He got
temp.
upgraded.
He was a temporary coach. He
was interim. I think.
interim. That's the word.
Yes. We knew he was going to get a deal
Because they got to the
obviously.
Eastern Conference
He
Finals.
made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. But what did we say, Ben? I mean, you said it, and I agreed with you. You said from your love, your first love,
Seattle
Supersonics.
Supersonics.
Great player.
Early 90s.
You loved him. Became a coach. Very mediocre. And you're like, I love this guy as I love this guy as a player. I'm still gonna root for him as a coach. Still mediocre. You came up to me during this podcast and said what?
Nate McMillan cannot adapt within a game or a series structure. He's great with young players and maximizing
Yes.
them and getting them to play hard. Absolutely. But getting to the next level, they're not going to do it. And because
he
of
doesn't adjust.
how well they went beyond what they should have been able to do last year, they're in for a fall in 2021, 2022. And what do we see in 2021, 2022, Phil?
Mediocre.
2
games below 500 in the Eastern Conference. Now, again, the Eastern Conference is real good this year, but they are pretty much the same team they were 2 years ago.
Before the interim coach came in.
And they have not improved. Trae Young is getting worse, regressing. They're not putting him in spots again to get him going, to get him open. They want to basically disassemble the team. They can't because nobody's willing to give up what they want for them because they're young, and so they assume they can get a lot for them. But they haven't showcased them, so nobody knows what to do with an undersized power forward.
Yep.
Or
Playing with an undersized point guard.
Yes.
Playing with an undersized. Playing with
point.
an undersized. Playing with an
Yes.
undersized. Trade away our one piece that might be something that helps.
guards.
Yeah.
Again, with with one big guy. Like, and again, what do you think is going to happen? That works as a surprise tactic, but you have to eventually evolve and bring and do schemes and game plans.
Coach who can do that, and Nate McMillan's not the guy.
He's not.
At this point, do we have 20 years at this point?
I think we were right.
I think we have 20 years of experience
easy.
saying Nate McMillan's not this guy. Nate McMillan got moved from a starter to the bench for the Supersonics when they're like, hey, you do these things very well, but you don't do this thing, but we want you to do it. And he's like, no, I do these things. That's what he's been as a player. That's what he's been as a coach.
Because he gets carte blanche again right away
because
wherever you put him.
The Blazers are pretty good. They were pretty good for a long time.
He's going to be
pretty good. Doesn't cut it in the NBA
what did they
right
do?
now.
The top 15 coaches. He's probably a top 20 coach.
Probably, I'll give him
of
20.
all time. But he's never
all time. No. Currently, I was like, currently top 20 coach for sure. Top 15.
I think again. I don't know.
No.
He's there because he's consistent.
No. The consistency is not a great coach make.
I know. It shouldn't be, but it is. In the NBA, how many teams win? Like
I'd
7,
put Thibodeau above
8.
him. I'd put George Karl above it. Like,
obviously, I put
Red
George
Auerbach,
Karl above
obviously.
him. Karl's probably like 10 or 13.
I'd put
Sloan
top
is
15.
up there.
I would put George Karl top 15. You're going to tell me Nate McMillan's just barely behind George Karl? No, not in anyone's life.
All right. Well, okay, top 15 coaches who haven't won a championship.
That are currently coaching the NBA? Sure, I'll give it to him. No, he's not. Rick Carlisle? Granted, has won a championship.
Yeah,
so
you can't use him. You got to use guys. Like, obviously, George Karl's top of the list. Gerald Sloan.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry Sloan's top of the list.
Yeah, those top two guys.
Then it gets murky. It gets murky a little bit.
I'd take Quinn Snyder over him. Of course, serial hobo killer Quinn Snyder. Take him over Nate McMillan. Because at least he's like, I'm frustrated by these losses. I want to do something about it. Does it work? No. Because it's Utah. Nobody wants to be there.
Exactly.
They got rid of Joe Ingles, dude.
Oh, who was? Oh, I know. This is why I was hoping he'd end up with
Portland.
us. I know, but of course he goes to Portland because he's just going to go there to die with Nurkic and just be on the bench and not play.
Do you think Ingles?
I actually think Ingles will just get bought out or something.
I think so too. I think he's gone in the offseason. I was like,
and he's really sad. He wanted to not be there.
He's coming back. I
thought he'd be great on the Kings.
I thought they're like, we're going to trade you for the roster spot because you're not coming back this year.
Right.
But don't
come back next year.
Come back next year.
We got you. We'll get you.
Next year.
Yeah.
Speaking of comeback,
we just can't take the money. Yeah. We got to pay all these other guys.
Portland wants out of as much money as possible. We're going to get you one way or the other. Absolutely. Portland is on a fire sale.
We haven't even done that. What is going on? Do you think
they're keeping Dame, or do you think they're like, we're getting as much money as we can to just throw money at people?
At this point, I have zero idea. People want to complain about the Kings. Like, sure, they have their own cross to bear with how many bad decisions they made in their history. But Portland has been right there they had their window like for 5 years.
And they did nothing. Like,
they zero to help him. And then they've done nothing but now say, you can't work with this, but we're just going to tear it down. Yeah, we're just going to be terrible. They don't even make good trade. They don't even get potential in the potential they got,
they give away immediately. They're like, thank you, bye.
You can get draft picks. You didn't get number 1 draft pick from the Pelicans?
You just got like $140 million lying around for next year. It's like,
pretty much.
But who wants to play for you?
Come here?
Who wants to play for you?
Yes.
Who are you paying?
I will come there. I will come and play. Ben will come. We love Portland.
Portland's a great town.
That's a great town. It's an underrated town, I would
little
say.
Racist still, with very Boston-esque vibes. But
it's a little underrated town, I would say.
But it's a good town.
It's probably better than Seattle to me.
For basketball or just life?
Just life.
Just life. Yeah, it is. It is. I've lived in Seattle.
It's an elevated Sacramento for sure.
Yeah.
The life.
Yeah.
But it's like if they had their money together in Sacramento.
I don't even think Dame knows what to do. He's like, are you going to get free agents? What is the plan?
No, nothing's going to happen. Because you're putting it all on him to bring somebody there when it was like, it was even hard for LeBron to get somebody to come to Cleveland. So if he can't bring anybody to Cleveland, what the hell do you think Dame's going to do with his track record? And he's a ball dominant guy. So it's like, who are you going to get who's going to be like, I'm really close if I come with you. Like,
listeners,
he's got to team up with somebody. He's got to team up with the Durant guy too.
Listeners, you're listening
you
right
think
now.
LeBron
I want
comes
you to hit pause. Start Googling around.
Oh, yeah,
Get
you
on the
should
trade
probably
machine. Tell me who you are filling in on that Blazers roster. That's
What
a
free
free agent
agent
this
that you
year
think
that
can
would
come?
pair. You need at least three. You need at least three strong
LeBron
players.
and who else?
Tell us, because we don't have any.
I mean,
fucking
are they
clue.
taking? Are they going to take enough to get Bronny?
Oh,
Are
you
they
want
taking?
Junior?
And then who? Like, I mean, are they playing the Bronny lottery? I think that's the only thing you can think of, right? It's like who's playing the Bronny lottery so they can get in and possibly lure LeBron to them, or force LeBron to tell them to trade him to whatever team they want him to go to.
So like I said, Joe Ingles is coming back to the Jazz in the offseason. 100% guaranteed. Mark it down. Take note. But speaking of people returning from whence they came, Torrey Craig back to the Suns, filling in the one hole the Suns had. So excited.
I know you were really excited.
I was like,
about
this is a
bring
sneaky,
him back
sneaky
to the
good
fold.
trade. all the contenders in the Western Conference didn't do anything, and the Suns
Oh
like, we're gonna
my
get back
God,
the
it's
one
so
guy
cluttered.
we miss.
Yes.
We're gonna get back the one guy we miss. The
Oh
Suns.
yeah. Oh, the
Chef's
Suns.
kiss.
No, those are the subtle things. I mean, we're gonna touch on not Kimba, but Milwaukee got
Oh yeah, Serge Ibaka.
Serge.
I like that move also.
Yes,
Small
I
move.
think that's a subtle move. People are going to be like, what is he going to
What's
give
Serge
you,
Ibaka
15 minutes?
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah.
10
But
to 15?
in a playoff game, that is huge in
That's
a
a
playoff
third of the
game.
game.
Yes,
That's a third of the
that
game.
is when somebody's in foul trouble, you have a guy who could play defense. Like,
knock down
again,
a tray.
Milwaukee is a defensive team. All they do is get people who are defensive-minded, and then they're like, don't worry about offense.
Yeah, if you're open for a three, shoot it. That's fine.
Yeah, we
You gotta
got
put back,
Holiday can
do
make
it.
his own shot. We got,
One of the greatest, like, I'm going to get where I need to be players of all time, Giannis.
Yes, Giannis is going to get what he needs, and he's
And
he's
of course,
improved at the line.
The MVP was promised.
Yes.
Middleton.
Middleton's great.
So, yeah, they're not worried. That's a great pickup. Small pickup, big pickup. That's what it is. That in the fray piece.
Yes, so
Yeah, good trade deadline.
yeah, I think
Last
it
year
was a good
pretty
trade
boring.
deadline. I think for the most part, I think everybody got what they wanted. I was very happy with it. I just felt like we needed to talk about it. I'm glad the Kings made the trades that they did.
Yeah.
They got some insequential guys. We'll see how they all work out. Justin Holiday and 2 Jeremy Lambs.
Yep.
But we'll see. Like, I mean, we'll see how it all works out.
Yeah,
Other
Trey
than that,
Lyles?
I feel like
I'm good with Trey Lyles.
I think all these guys again. All this sets up for me is next year is like what coach is possibly available that the Kings can get where they're really going to get the maximum out of.
Bring back Mike Malone.
That's what I'm all about. Like, I'm about reconciling that. I'm about getting, like, again, a good passing coach, a good defensive-minded coach. And then, again, stop trying to be the Warriors because it doesn't work. And Kerr doesn't have a coaching tree like that.
Yeah.
It is shown already, like, nope. Nobody has Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. So unless you start with that, you don't have that.
You gotta remember that Gentry handled the Suns for a while.
Yeah,
So he's
and he
got
had a good
experience.
run. And again, they had great players though. They did have good.
Yeah.
They had good running
So,
point guards. They had really good running big men like
So
Steph
what if we give them a
Sotomayor.
full season with what they're doing?
No.
This is the thing I like is that
I
the
know.
Kings maybe finally have a plan. And it's a good one. Like, I think they had a plan before, but it was a terrible plan the whole time.
Yeah.
And they're just like convinced it was right. But they seem to have a plan. And let's see what I'm fine with. I'm like, if you want to replace your coach, fine. But Alvin Gentry's not a scrub coach.
I would have liked Rick Carlisle if I knew he
Oh,
was
man.
going. Jesus. I think, if anything,
Why
that's
wasn't
what's
he
going to
in this
help
trade?
Halliburton the most. Is he's going to have a legitimate
Rick
coach that's going
Carlisle's
to be
gonna
there as long as he
maximize
wants.
him.
Oh my God, yeah. He's gonna teach him things that he's never even seen. He's great.
What a great
I like
pairing.
that guy. Yeah,
I feel like the Pacers coming back to that 90s
that's why the
style.
Pacers are always in it relevant. Like you said, they're not going to be great because they might not get the stars there, but they know that they know where the fundamentals lie, and they know
How to
getting a
evaluate
good coach.
talent.
They always usually have a good GM, and they're going to be great. They're going to be fine. They're not going to be bottom dwellers. They're going to be in the middle. They might make the playoffs. They're not going to be great, but they'll be right there.
Yeah. All right.
I think we got to start wrapping up.
Yeah, we got to start wrapping it up. I had something I was going to say, and then I forgot it. So,
Well, there you go.
Whatever. So I'll just say this. If you have the time, go over to whatever your podcast app you're using, type in Stab Cuts as a podcast, and listen to the latest release, Eric Barger, IANALB. It's a comedy writing game show.
I like it.
It stands for Ike and Nate and Larry Bird, and it's a rap, and it's so funny. It might be Ike and Nick and Larry Bird, but it's one of the funniest things I've heard in 2022. It's like 3 minutes of your time. There's a beat. It is an awkward, like Andy Samberg style rap.
Oh, okay. There you go.
And it's so good.
Awesome.
And it's basketball
Yeah,
related.
go check it out. I mean, if you're on here, you're really looking for entertainment.
Let's
so
just go ahead and hit play. Let me see where my
Yeah, go ahead
volume's
and do it.
It's spooky. Can you hear it?
Eric, please take me away from anal B. Let's hear your IANALB.
All right. Well, Jesse. After the success of Space Jam, that's how I beat Shaq and Kazam. Another basketball legend decided to jump into the entertainment world. That's right. NBA legend Larry Bird decided to record a rap single with his two best friends from college, Ike and Nick. And I'll tell you what, it goes a little something like this. Ike and Nick and Larry Bird. And Nick and Larry Bird. Ike and Nick. Have you heard? We're Ike and Nick and Larry Bird. Hey, I'm Ike. I'm the guy that really loves eating fries. But before I talk about that real quick, I gotta pass the mic to my good friend Nick. Hey, everybody. Nick's the name. Wearing fun shirts, that's my game. I wear a lot of shirts because my chest is hairy. Now let me pass the mic to my good friend Larry. Hey, everybody. I'm Larry Bird. One time I accidentally swallowed a turd. No, you're not crazy. You heard that right. I swallowed a turd one summer night. Because we're Ike and Nick and Larry Bird. Ike and Nick and Larry Bird. Ike and Nick and Larry Bird. Hey, everybody, what's the word? Ike's the name, and I despise when I get those bland fries. If I get bland fries, I say halt. Come on, brother. Where's the salt? I am friends with Larry Bird, who one time accidentally swallowed a turd. I'd love to talk about it because it's pretty sick, but I gotta pass the mic to my good friend Nick. Hey, everybody. Ike went first. Now it's my turn. I wear fun shirts. All of my shirts have a super fun pattern. Sometimes golf ball, sometimes Saturn. My friend Larry, who's about to go third, one time accidentally swallowed a turd. But before the situation gets any more scary, let me pass the mic to my good friend Larry. Hey, I'm NBA champion Larry Bird. And yes, it's true, I accidentally swallowed a turd. But don't you want to talk about other things? Like my championship rings? I mean, obviously it was an accident. Swallowing a turd wasn't my intent. Okay, fine. If otherwise you will ignore me, I guess that I have to tell you the story.
All right, there's a lot of background.
Oh, yeah, this is happening.
You
It's
get the
taking over.
idea. It's a story
Check it
about
out.
Larry
That
Bird.
is hilarious. That made me laugh.
Eric Barger also has his first rap album out. Eric James Barger III. Look it up. But this is a basketball podcast. I just wanted to give a shout out because I was like,
Oh,
basketball
no,
related.
that's great.
He was the
That
GM
was
for the
great.
Pacers. It all made sense to me. I'm like, I feel like
We love people who love basketball. We love people who love beer.
he's
So
such
there you
a
go.
goofy, dumb kid.
I love that.
So I was like, I thought it was so funny. 'Cause it's just such a commitment to this dumb bit. So anyway, anything else we got to...
I think that covers most of it. I mean, yeah, go drink beer this weekend.
Get that big chicken.
Get that big chicken where you can find it. SF Beer Week's happening. Find the triple IPAs that are near you in your area. You'll enjoy them.
There's
Like,
so
get them
many.
while they're fresh. They're so
Grape
good. Really,
sides
people are
hops,
trying
making them
to
younger.
win some awards and stuff. Like, go check it out. This is where we don't really get a lot of breweries trying to flex anymore, and it's nice. So people want to compete. They want people to like their beer. So yeah, give them go check some out and let us know. Like you said, slide in our DMs. Let us know what you like. Tell us so we can compare beer to a player that you liked over this weekend. Like, hit us up and let us know. We are always down. And we'll be watching out for that buyout market.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have another podcast. Once that breaks down, I'm sure we'll get some old big names that might be able to contribute. Maybe to the Lakers, maybe to another contending team. We'll see. Doubt it, but we'll see.
No one's contributing to that team. It's a mess. It's
That's the only way they
Just-
get better. They literally could not give Westbrook away for a ham sandwich.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted him. Kings didn't want him for Buddy Hield, which obviously, why would you want more Buddy Hield?
Why would
Buddy
you want
Hield.
one more point guard to make De'Aaron Fox mad? Like that's
Well,
just
because they thought we'd be Kangs enough to do that. That's
KANGZ.
what they thought.
Oh,
which
check
we
out
almost
check
were.
out my KANGZ meme. I think it's pretty good.
I think it was really
I
good.
think it's pretty good. Check it out.
Us out at all. Like, I mean, there's going to be a lot of stuff coming up. We're doing a lot of following what's going on. The NBA is picking up. There's not a lot of games left. The NBA All-Star game's happening.
This podcast and these comedy shows I run really help
Yeah,
keep up
that's
my
all we try to
Canva
do.
game. So
Oh,
we're
we
getting
love that.
Good,
Good
memes out there.
Kangs.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yes.
we ran through the how to find us stuff earlier when you were away. Do we have to do it again? I gave the Peter Parkour. I gave the Orlando.
Peter Parkour.
Barley Me Pod.
Yes, on Instagram it's Culinary Lando.
Yep.
We're still we're and all of our social media stuff as far as this podcast goes. Follow them. Come check us out. We're always trying to do stuff, trying to stay relevant, trying to bring the content, the funny stuff. And there's a lot of stuff going on in the Kings that
Insights.
helps us. So
Yeah.
that's good. That's good,
Yeah.
good for us.
Looking forward to the rest of the season for the Kings. That's
Yes.
going to be cool. And my Thunder did nothing, so
They did absolutely zero.
I think we gave up a draft pick. That's
Yes,
like
I
all
think
we
you've
did.
done stuff the last 2 years, so you could take a break.
Yeah, we've got 943 draft picks.
Yes, I
coming
was gonna
up,
say
so
you.
no rush.
How many more can you get?
no rush. See what the guys can do after a
The
couple years of seasoning.
next Michael Jordan's around the corner somewhere.
Give him a
around
little
here.
salt, see what happens. That's all it is. Give him a little shake. All right, guys,
All
that's
right.
it. So I've been Ben Rice,
And I've been Phil Webster.
reminding you
To
please
dunk
responsibly.
responsibly.